AITA for taking back a stroller from my brother after he took it without asking and giving it to a friend instead. ETA. To those suggesting this story is fake, because UKO, unfathom how my brother could VA just walked in and taken the prom as if I'd handed him a spare key. Have you considered the rather obvious possibility that my wife was at home at the time and he simply lied to her, claiming I'd already said yes? Yeah, that's what happened. What actually happened was this. He came over while I was at work and had a chat with my wife. He said he was going to take the prom, and she asked him something along the lines of, "Have you spoken to my husband about this?" He told her yes, that I'd already given him the go-ahead. So naturally, she assumed it was all sorted and didn't question it. She didn't think for a second that he might be lying. So he did take it without my permission, right? So I 28M have always had a somewhat strained relationship with my older brother 35M. He was, to put it bluntly, rather cruel to me throughout our childhood. He bullied me quite relentlessly until he left home after finishing school. We were raised by a single mom who was doing her absolute best to keep things afloat, and I never told her what was going on at the time, because I didn't want to add to her burdens. These days, I'm married with a young son and a stable job. My brother, on the other hand, has fallen on hard times, mostly due to a long-standing gambling problem that's left him in serious financial trouble. A few years ago, he attempted to reconnect and offer something of an apology, but it felt rather performative. If I'm honest, I've kept things civil, but distant. Now, to the heart of the matter, last month, whilst I was at work, my brother came to my home and took my son's old stroller, without so much as a message. It's a rather expensive bit of kit, still in excellent condition, and I had already promised it to one of my closest friends, whose wife is expecting their first child. I'd told him weeks in advance that it was his, and he was genuinely touched. When I confronted my brother about it, he was completely dismissive. He said something like, "I'm your brother. That's your nephew. Why are you helping them over your own family?" As though that somehow settled the matter. Frankly, I found the entitlement staggering. So, last week, I drove over to his flat while he was out, and had a word with his wife, who, to her credit, was polite but clearly upset. She said their son had grown used to the stroller, and they simply couldn't afford another. I told her, I sympathized, but it had been promised to someone else, and, ultimately, it had never been theirs to begin with. I took it back and delivered it to my friend, just as I'd said I would. Later that day, my brother rang me in a fury, accusing me of being heartless and disloyal, and said I'd stolen from a baby and was a disgrace to the family. I've since blocked him. My wife fully supports my decision. My mom hasn't said anything either way. A couple of mutual acquaintances, however, reckon I was too harsh and that since I can afford to be generous, I should have just let them keep it. So AITA for taking the prom back and giving it to the person I'd promised it to, instead of letting my brother keep it after he took it without asking.